There's nothing in the world I hate more than sore losers and cheaters. So I'm calling out one of you. Let's talk now.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me.
What is going on, everybody? It is lunchtime. Or as Trent Olive says, lunchtime. Here we go. Ken Walter Scott, your bag of oranges in the back of the pickup truck comment on Sevy's podcast was priceless. Yeah, I thought I'd get a little play, but nothing. Yeah, when it comes to boxers or briefs, like I am nowhere near a boxer. Man, I hate when my oranges are bouncing around the back of a pickup truck. So yeah, cool. Scott, I like how your background changes. My background. Oh no. Behind me is the same as it always is. I did change the thumbnail a little bit today to kind of honor my love for comic books and comic book stuff. Plus I've been playing around with some AI things, converting some of Ishmael's pictures from Rogue into comic book cells, which is, they just look really good. And I just wanted to highlight them. So yeah, doing a little bit of that. What else is going on? So like I've told you guys, like I don't like I watch a lot of CrossFit content, and sometimes I just have to like take a breath, get away, watch something completely different. And so I watch other content creators too, just to like see their interview style, trying to learn what I can from them. How do they phrase questions, things like that. And one of the people I watch is a guy named the Professor of Rock, because I love music. And he's been actually going through it a little bit these last few weeks. He has a baseball-sized kidney stone that he's having removed tomorrow. But before he goes in for that, he actually got surprised by David Letterman, who turned out being a fan of his and wanted to interview him. And here, this guy is a huge fan of David Letterman. And it was just this really cool, like, back and forth that happened. And it was a cool, like, walk down memory lane because, man, when I was in college, we watched, this is way before, like, Letterman was on CBS, when Letterman did the late show after the Tonight Show on NBC. We would sit in our dorm rooms with the antenna out the window and half a roll of tinfoil to get a good reception, would watch Letterman late at night. And it was really fun to just watch them interact and kind of go back and forth, because I really love the Professor of Rock. He does a lot of cool, like, interviews, historic stuff through the history of rock. He goes through top 10s from a certain time back in the day, and then when he's done with the top 10, he'll actually look at today, what do their like Spotify streams look like, and are they in the same order? What's most popular now from that era as opposed to what they were during that time? And it's just a lot of fun. And it's one of those kind of like brain dead channels that you don't have to be totally engrossed in. It just kind of wafts over you. And it's fun to just, it's, if you want to go back and remember things from high school and college, it's really a fun time. Andrew Stan, Professor of Rock is a great channel. And Sean and Oregon, Letterman is in a category all of his own. Yeah, he really spoke back in the day. He really spoke to the college age kids. This is late 80s. I'm in college. My roommate and I would lay in bed and just excited to hear the top 10 list every night. And really, really enjoyed it. And I was a big Carson fan too. So Johnny Carson, David Letterman, loved both of them. And it really, really is a good time. So Aster Serve, as a classic rock fan, Professor of Rock is a must see. He is. There's two people I watch in the music world on YouTube, and it's Professor of Rock and Rick Beato. I liked when Rick Beato did more "Why is this song great?" or his top 10 or top 20. His interviews are really good too. Professor of Rock is more consistent on his channel, but Beato has like 5 million subscribers. Professor of Rock has like 1.5 million, and they're both great. And again, I really just try to reach out to look at different things and try to learn what I can from their interview style, things like that. So, the Neil Schoen interview on Rick Beato is a banger. As a huge Journey fan, I have probably 6 Journey albums on vinyl, from the mid 70s up through the one after Escape, Frontiers, I think. Yeah. So I have those all on vinyl. My wife and I are both big Journey fans. We listen to those all the time. My favorite Journey album is Infinity. It has my favorite Journey song on it. That's one I like to listen to a lot. It's weird. Like today, my daughter started collecting vinyl, but before that, like she didn't know what an album was. Like everything was on Spotify as just songs. And like we were losing this, back in classic rock, and I'm way off the rails here. Albums used to tell a story, right? It was one song into the next song into the next song that had a thread generally about what was going on in that artist's life at the time. And we've lost that with Spotify and the greatest hits era, and just being able to go pick a song and play it at a beck and call, as opposed to like going to the store, buying an album, and then playing it for cover to cover to see what it says. So we who lived through the 80s were lucky for sure. We were. But then the downside of that is you bought a new album came out, you went and bought it, and it had one hit song on it, and the rest of it was just crap. And so it was like a little roulette game you played when you did that. So, but I have a very procured collection of vinyl. It probably is about 150 albums right now. But it's just the stuff I wanted and the stuff that I want to listen to. And I usually a lot of times after I'm done with the show, I just go upstairs and I put on a record and I work to that music, and that's how I kind of relax in the afternoon after the show. Unless it's like a day like today, where at 1:00 today we have Dawn Fall on the CrossFit podcast, and then we have Luka Jukic on with Coffee Pods and Wads at one. So as soon as this is done, that'll probably have to be a must listen, and then we'll see from we'll have to see from there on out. So big day. So I want to talk about my sore loser comment off the top. This season we put together a fantasy football league in the Clydesdale media world. 12 people joined. Carolyn, Jamie, and I all have teams, and we took on whatever listeners got in first. I'm a rule follower, and I hate cheaters, and I hate sore losers. And one of the members of our league, because he was out of it, decided to dump his entire roster, and totally messes up the league for the other 11 players for the rest of the year. And what possesses someone to be so petty and so upset that they ruin the shit for everyone else. Why dump every player, put them back into the pool to be picked up, and now it's just a mad chaos thing and totally slants the league for the rest of the season. It ruins the integrity of the season. And I know it's only fantasy football, but it's something that people do to enjoy and relax and get away from the hectic life that they have. What possesses someone to do that? To be so petty that their inconvenience has to be felt by everybody else around them. You know, it's like playing Monopoly or Risk for 5 hours, devoting all this time, and then one person saying, I'm bored, I'm going to walk away, and they own half the world, and now the game is not relevant anymore. I just don't get it. I don't get it. And that person was Jeff Bako. I'm not pulling back words. What he did was pissed me off. It upset me. It upset other people in the league, and it sucks. It sucks that he did that. It sucks that he was so selfish that it was more about him and where he was than keeping the league where it was, and it was just for fun. We were having fun with listeners and doing things. He's just that it was a jackass move. He's a jackass, and I'm really pissed about it. So there it is. So there it is. Corey Leonard says, to the surprise of absolutely no one. Yeah, I didn't know him. I didn't know him enough before this. But I had what sucks most is I had other people interested in wanting to play in this league that could have come in and played it the way it was supposed to be played. And he has to come in and be a jackass, take someone else's spot that would have enjoyed it and would have played it the way it was supposed to. And he ruins it for the other 11 people who signed it up. And now it makes it kind of a null and void season for everybody else, because every one of his players is out in the waiver pool to be able to be picked up. And if you've already played him and maybe lost to him, now now other people are going to get to play an empty roster for the rest of the season, get an automatic win. So it could affect who makes the playoffs or not. And I know most people don't care about my fantasy league. But I just want to point out that Jeff Bako's an ass, and don't let him in anything you're doing, because he will ruin it on the spot. And so he will never be welcome back into anything we do on this channel. That is for sure. So here we go. I also put out a reel clipping something I talked about Laura a couple days ago, and the comments have been crazy, man. So I'm going to share that real quick. Here we go. So, and this is talking about how Tia is Laura's white whale. I think that there's a chance she comes back to the games, because the one thing on her resume that she doesn't have is a win over Tia. Here we go. There's so many topics in this I want to talk about. So here's a comment. Rogue matters more than CrossFit Games since 2024. She is a woman with principles, and I don't think she will go back to the games until no changes happen. She is happy with Rogue, WFP, and her gym, and I think would not want to represent a company if she would win like CrossFit HQ right now. And that is why she won't go. She doesn't care about Tia as much as people think. I think that is completely false. Now, she may be pissed at HQ. I did say that in the full long form of this. And I think she was grieving from 2024. Some people grieve in different ways. And that is her entitlement to grieve. And I get that. But to say she doesn't care about Tia is the piece that makes her, improves her greatness. proves her greatness. And if you can beat the king of the hill and become the king of the hill, that means something. That means something way different than winning a rogue event. And I think it has been shown over the last 2 years. Yes, there was a death at the CrossFit Games in 2024, but there has been deaths in other sports during competition as well. It doesn't mean they fade away. It doesn't mean they go away. People grieve, they get past it, and it moves on. And people are coming back to the CrossFit Games and watching the CrossFit Games, and it still gets the most streams. It still gets the most attention. And Bill and Katie themselves would tell you that the CrossFit Games matter more than what they do. What they do is a showcase. What the games do is find the fittest on earth. That is very different. To say that it doesn't matter to Laura is a cop-out. And someone else made a comment that just really fried me up. This guy, Dee Dottie. I think that is one more reason she doesn't do it. I don't think she has the honor or gumption to want to try to beat Tia. You don't become as good as Laura is without having gumption and honor and the work ethic to get her to where she is today. She is arguably, I would argue, the second best CrossFitter to ever walk the planet. She has one hole. I think if you put Laura up against Katrin and Annie in their primes, Laura wins. They have more holes. She has one. She has one hole that she has to overcome. They have several holes. Their holes were just they were minimal to the rest of the field. So to say she doesn't have the gumption or honor is asinine. Asinine. You don't get to where she is without having gumption, work ethic, champion's mindset, all of those things. You just don't. Everybody that's at the CrossFit Games has a mindset that none of us can understand or comprehend. They are the tip of the spear of everything. We have to understand that when we're looking at people and we're saying that they're just mailing it in or they're just doing this or that. You don't get to that spot mailing it in. You don't. Everybody is letting their hate for Laura cloud logic. And I said this yesterday, and I'm going to say it again today. The more people pile on the hate, the more I'm starting to love her. I want now, because of all of the hate piled on her, I want her to kick everybody's ass. That's what's crazy. It's insanity that people are letting this hate for her cloud her judgment. FFS says there are other girls who are a lot closer to beating Laura than she is to beating Tia. Show me the proof. I think there's some athletes on the up and come that are going to come close. I would agree with that in some circumstances, but none of them have proved it yet. None of them have put down the resume that Laura has put down. And like I said before, I think Laura is closer to being a bulletproof athlete than anybody else has been in the past. The only female bulletproof athlete that we have ever had is Tia. And that's why she is the standard bearer. To beat her when she is bulletproof, she is the predator. She is the villain at the end of the movie that you have to overcome to be the hero. Because she is bulletproof, because she is invincible. No other athlete has ever been able to say that on the female side. None. Laura has one hole. She can't do strict deficit handstand push-ups. That is it. She's as close to bulletproof as we have, other than Tia actually being it. Now, do I think other athletes are getting closer and closer to that? Yes. But right now, Laura is the closest we have. Aaron Fraser, Mal had the potential but bowed out. She was coming close, but apparently, and this is not to be mean because Mal got to places nobody else did. Her overall mindset and commitment wasn't there. She walked away. She found out that there was more to life than CrossFit, and that is why she did not reach bulletproof status. My friend's son was a hockey player playing in England and was a past player on the Penguins whose throat bled out on the ice, and family didn't stop being involved in the NHL. They got more involved to find solutions. I understand that. I know that story. I'm sorry for their loss. I like the example that sport went on, the family went on. I get that. But we all grieve differently too. We have to understand that as well. Mike DeVito, Mal's getting close to the perfect sourdough bread recipe, so she still has that. You got to have goals in life. And honestly, like if that's what is making Mal happy, then that is awesome. Like, go for it. Be the best sourdough bread maker you can be. I've said on this show a million times, when I grew up, I wanted to be a sportscaster. That's all I wanted to be in my whole life. And then like your brain kicks and said, how am I going to make money doing that? So I'm go to college and I get my business degree and I get my MBA and I work in this corporate 9-to-5 BS my whole life. And at 49, I said, this is dumb. Create your own podcast and be what you want to be. If what you find what makes you happy and you go at it 100%, if that's making sourdough bread, Mal, go for it. And I support it 100%. But to say that Laura doesn't care about beating Tia, didn't watch Rogue a couple years ago. And when you watch the reaction to her beating Tia, it meant something to her. Now she needs to do it on Tia's home court. The problem with that is if Tia comes out that she's pregnant, we're not going to have that matchup anyway. But I digress. That's not what this is about. This is about assuming that Tia will be around to take on. I just find it preposterous that people would think that Laura doesn't have the mindset to take on Tia. That girl ain't afraid of nobody. And if she could get that win, it would mean her career to her. Laura cares about beating everyone, just like Tia, two sides of the same coin. Yes. Yes. John George, I think Tia wants Laura there just as much as Laura wants to take on Tia. I agree with you. If you are a champion and you have a champion's mindset, you want to beat the best there is out there. I agree. Completely. All right. So what else do we have? I have a meeting at 1 that I think is going to get canceled, but I have to end in time to be there just in case it wasn't. 100% John, Tia doesn't want to beat scrubs. No one at the top does. No fun in that. Right. You want to prove you're great. If you're Tia or Laura, you want to beat the best out there because you want to show that you are the best who has ever done it. There was also a comment about watching out for Lucy because she beat Laura at Wodapalooza. And again, I think that Wodapalooza is down on the priority list of wins. I think you have a couple competitions a year that people make sure they are at their best to be at. And Wodapalooza isn't necessarily one of those. Ken Walters, then the argument would be that Laura didn't beat Tia in her prime. There's always going to be arguments. There's always going to be speculation. But if she gets the win, it makes that argument tighter. It makes the gap between who was better tighter. And it would take a monumental end of her career for Laura to get close to being the best ever. I mean, Tia is the GOAT. She has 8 championships. Laura's never going to have 8. Mike DeVito agreed. You can't really count Waza or WFP for that matter. Wodapalooza had a few others for many are just a check-in comp to see themselves in the field. Agreed. I think Wodapalooza has become, well, I don't know what it's going to become now that it's more in the season. But the January Wodapalooza version was, hey, I've been training in the off season. I want to go see where I stand, where I sit going into the season, and just kind of see where that is. And I don't think it's necessarily always about the win for people there. Now, once you're there, you're trying to win, but you're not preparing for it going in. You're not changing up your training going into that. Sorry about that. My nose was filling up and I needed to get that out so I could keep talking. All right. So what else do I want to talk about? I only have a couple minutes left. I wanted to let you guys know that yesterday we had Justin Cotler in the chat. We had some interesting back and forth with him and some of the people in the chat. So I gave him a call. He's going to be on tomorrow. We're going to get to talk to him live. It's lunch with friends tomorrow at noon. So I'll be on 15 minutes earlier tomorrow with Justin Cotler. We're going to talk about Alex Kazan. We're going to talk about the move to HWPO. And we're going to talk about what a bulletproof athlete is. He's the one that made me familiar with that term. And that's what he's trying to get Alex to be, is the next bulletproof athlete. So we're going to talk about all that stuff in if you haven't seen the lunch with the friends yet, it's less interview style, more kind of back and forth, just conversation. But we're going to do that tomorrow at noon for our lunch break tomorrow. Also, I watched the Mayhem podcast this morning. If everybody's forgotten, the Everyday Heroes final is in a week and a half. So I think it's on the 17th. No, 15th in Mayhem. And so what it is all the people, the firefighters, the police officers, the military, the educators, the medical staff, who all finished at the top of their category, are going to be competing in Cookeville to see who the champions are. Our very own Carolyn Prevost is representing educators. So she will be there competing in a week and a half for that. In addition, they announced that Jack Rosema is going to represent military. So there's some bigger hitters in this Everyday Heroes comp. And Mayhem is going to make a documentary about the competition and show kind of what happened as a post-production piece. So you can watch that and see how it all went down. And they'd always do a great job of that. So it's going to be really cool to see that. What else? I think that's pretty much everything that I had today. Mike DeVito, her leg might actually be bulletproof now. There may be some metal in there. Good point. Good point. Yesterday in the chat, Justin was saying that Alex did that performance at Rogue with 5 weeks of being cleared to squat. So, can you imagine with a full training session how good she might do at an event? We're going to talk about all that with Justin tomorrow for sure. Howie, I'm on a delay, Scott, but whoever did that in the league is just not a good person. I said it flat out. He's a jackass and will not be welcome back in any of our leagues again. So yeah. So with that, guys, I wish I knew if this 1:00 meeting was being canceled or not, but I can't take that chance because I want to keep my job and keep doing this at the same time. So with that, it's been a blast. Dawnfall in like 14 minutes. 14 minutes or so will be on the CrossFit podcast. Luka Jukic in the same 14 minutes will be on Coffee Pods and Wads. So pick your poison, go over there, check out some stuffs, see what you want to hang out for. Say hi for me. Mike DeVito, I risk my job every day for the Savon podcast. Always around my meeting times. Yeah. Yeah, I have some morning meetings every week that I have to like bounce in and out of stuff, but that's why I'm not in the chats a ton on those, because I just have them where I'm listening, not necessarily participating. Sometimes I get to participate, sometimes I don't, but I always listen. My day is every morning I literally get up, I sign into work, and I put on Get Up, and that's my breakaway to other sports, so I can hear about the Bears and hockey and football and baseball. And then I go into the Savon show if I don't have meetings. And then the afternoon is just picking and diving into all the content that's out there. So there it is. Sean in Oregon, I faked having to do something to get out of a meeting to listen to this live today. Well, thank you. That means a ton. Mike DeVito, and if my boss is watching this, my laptop was hacked and it's not really me. Yeah, good point. Way to cover it up, Mike. Good job. With that, guys, it's been fun. Still begging for that Sriracha sponsorship. If anybody has any connections, I know Holly clipped a picture and tagged in the owner of Sriracha, trying to get us that Sriracha sponsorship. But I had it on my eggs again this morning. I sent a picture to Corey, and it was delicious. Every morning, broccoli slaw, egg whites, 1 egg, and Sriracha, my Chinese ketchup. With that, I'm going to leave you on that note, and we will see everybody tomorrow for Justin Cotler. Lunch with friends, noon tomorrow, 15 minutes early. Be here.